Okay, here we go. Chapter 3-4A. I put an A to the end of this because this is not technically 3-4 out of your textbook. 3-4 out of your textbook is linear programming. We're not going to do that right now. We are going to, in place of that, we're going to put determinants, which is the fourth method in finding the point of intersection between two equations of a line. Right? Y'all with me? So determinants is the fourth method. Another way to find the solution to systems equations, just like with elimination, they have to line up exactly like this. The 1's indicated from equation 1, the 2's indicated from equation 2. So if I have A1, that means it's the coefficient of the x on equation 1. The C2 would indicate that it's the constant in equation 2. If I had C5, what equation would that be in? The fifth equation. They must be in the form of above in order to do Cramer's rule. Whenever I say Cramer's rule, that means d dx dy. D dx and dy. The intersection point is going to be dx over d, which is known as the x-coordinate, and then dy over d, which is known as the y-coordinate. Do we understand that? Now, honestly, the easiest way to do this is to jump straight in. So let's go. What we're going to do is we're going to actually create a formula. When you see bars like this, that just means it's a determinant. It does not mean it's an absolute value. Those bars are not absolute values today. They are determinant bars. Okay? Now, if I want to find D, I'm going to put two bars, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I want the coefficients of the x's and the coefficients of the y's. So what's the coefficient of my x's? What are they up here? A1 and A2. What's the coefficient of my y's? B1 and B2. Now, are we all listening to this? This is very, very important. When you calculate a determinant, all you're doing is cross multiplication. When you calculate a determinant, all you're doing is cross multiplication, and you're taking the difference between the two. How do we start that? Always at the top left-hand corner, you cross multiply. So that's going to give you A1, B2, and what did I tell you they were? It's the difference of them. So what's difference mean? And you always have subtraction, and then you're going to subtract off the other diagonal, which gives you A2 times B1. This is going to give you a numerical value. You will not have any variables in this. Okay? Then we're going to do dx. Now, just like an ordered pair has which coordinate first? X. Well, that is exactly the same here, but instead of having ordered pairs, we have columns. Does that make sense? And the first column, that denotes my x's. The second column, that represents my y's. Do we understand that? Never, ever, ever swap out your columns. Do we understand that? Because if you swap out your columns, you're going to change the value of your determinant. Now, I need bars, just like I did over on the D, but this time I'm going to get rid of my coefficients of my x's, and in place of them, I am going to place my constants. Am I changing my columns? No, I'm simply swapping my C's in instead of my A's. So I'm going to have C1 over C2, and then I'm going to keep my Y coefficients. My Y coefficients are B1 and B2. How do you evaluate a determinant? Starting where? Top left-hand corner is equal to C1 B2. What goes in after that? Every time? Minus the other diagonal, which is going to be C2 B1. Again, what type of outcome are you going to have here? Numerical, okay? And the last one that you're going to do is dy. Well, just like with our x's, we got rid of our x coefficients and replaced them with what? Our c constants. So how am I going to do my dy's? I'm going to get rid of my coefficients of my y's, which are my b's, and I'm going to replace my b's with c's. So now, what is going to be inside my bars? A1 and A2, and for the x positions, and then the y positions? C1, C2, very good. How do we calculate a determinant? Starting at the top left, cross multiply, A1 times C2. What goes next, always and forever? Subtract. And then that's going to be A2 times C1, sorry. Now again, what type of values is these going to be? Numerical values. Now let's hop in and actually do this. Yes, they are. Come on, idols. Even though you like laundry. Did you like that? I did. I gave her the idea for that. I'm claiming that. Now, we need to find determinants, find the point of intersection using determinants. So step 1, are they all lined up? Yes. So step 2, I need to find D. So how do I find D? Well, D is going to be taking what? The X coefficients and the Y coefficients. So that's going to be bars. And then what are going to go inside those bars? 3 over 5. -4, -8. Why is it negative when last time it was positive? Because in our example we had plus B1y and plus B2y, right? That's why they were positive. Here we have minus, so we have to take into account those signs. So how do we calculate a determinant? Top left-hand corner, cross multiply. -24, what goes after always and forever? Minus, second one gives me 4 times -5 times -4 gives me -20. And what do we get there when minus a negative? Is a plus to give me -4 being my D value. Box it in. Do we all see that, yes or no? Okay, next. dx. When I'm doing dx, what do I get rid of? Do I get rid of the x coefficients or the y coefficients? I get rid of the x coefficients because I'm doing dx. What do I put in replace of them? The c, so I'm going to have 7, 9, and then what? -4, -8. How do I calculate a determinant? Starting at the top left-hand corner, cross multiply. 7 times -8 is -56. What goes next? Minus. Let's go to the other diagonal. 9 times -4 gives me -36. Minus a negative is a positive. And what is -56 plus 36? -20. Signs are not the same, so we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. Now I need to do dy. When I'm doing dy, what do I get rid of? Do I get rid of the x coefficients or the y coefficients? I get rid of the y coefficients, and what do I replace them with? The constant. So I have my determinant bars, and what goes where? In the first column I have 3, 5. In the second column I have 7, 9. How do I calculate a determinant? Cross multiply, starting in the top left-hand corner. 3 times 9 is 27, always and forever minus. And 5 times 7 is 35. And what is 27 minus 35? -8. Very good. So now I found d, dx, and dy. Now, how in the world does that help me find my points of intersection? Well, it's very simple, because now that I have all that part done, all I have to do is simply say that x is equal to my dx value divided by my d. So what is dx divided by d? Well, dx is going to be -20, and what's d? -4, and what's -20 divided by -4? 5. That is my x-coordinate. How do I find my y-coordinate? Well, y is going to be dy over d. dy is going to be -8. d is -4. And what does that give you? +2 as my y. So what's my POI, folks? My POI is going to be the point containing the set containing the point 5, 2. Easy, hard? of writing, right? A lot of plugging and chugging, but is it a lot of hard brain work? Not really. Yes.
I don't understand how you know what numbers to put in all this square.
You understand the procedure, you're just concerned about remembering what goes where?
I don't know what to do.
All you do for D, you hack off the left-hand part after the equal sign, get rid of the X's and the Y's. That's D.
Oh.
That's it. That was D. The X's is I hack off the X's, and in place of them, I'm going to put the 7 and 9. The DY's are, I'm going to keep my X's, and in place of my Y's, I'm going to hack those off, and I'm going to put in 7 and 9.
Okay, so if you get rid of the Y, would it the 7 and 9 be something? Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are. Okay, let's do it again. Step 1. They're not in order, are they? So look at the first equation. What do I need to do that equation to put it in x, y equals number? I can swap them out, sure. So that's going to be x plus 3y is equal to 5. What about the second equation? What do I need to do to it? I need to add 9y to both sides. So I have negative 7x plus 9y is equal to negative 11. Do I need to look at the blue-typed equations anymore? Do I need to look at the blue-typed equations anymore? Absolutely not. Okay, those are just there to put thorn in my side. So I ignore those equations, and now what am I looking for? I need to find D. So how did I find D before? Well, D is going to be just the left-hand side of the equation without your x's and y's in them, right? So that's going to be 1, negative 7, 3, and 9. How do I calculate? Top left, 1 times 9 is 9, minus a negative 21 to give me 9 plus 21 to give me 30 as my D value. Now what? Now I need to do dx. So dx is going to be what this time? Sorry? I replace the 1 and the negative 7 with the 5 over negative 11. What do you want?
Just to drive you nuts. On horse on it. Congratulations. Yay.
So when I'm calculating dx, I get rid of the x coefficients. In place of them, I'm going to put the constants, and then I'm going to drop down the coefficients of my y's. So that's going to be 3 and 9. So now what? Let's multiply. 5 times 9 is 45, always and forever minus a negative 33. Minus the negative is a positive to give you a 78 as your dx. Then I need to calculate dy. When I'm calculating dy, what stays and what goes? X stays, so that gives me 1 and negative 7. What goes? The y's go, and in place, 5, negative 11. Calculating from the top left down, 1 times negative 11 gives me minus 7 times, negative 7 times 5 gives me minus a negative is a positive. And what is negative 11 plus 35? What's that? I thought you said something else, sorry. So now I have 24. So now I have d, dx, and dy. Now what do I need to find? X and y. So this is going to be, x is going to be dx over d. So what's dx? 78. D is 30. Now your brains need to try to work without a calculator. Are they both even or odd? Even. Since they're both even, what do they both look like? 2. So what's 78 divided by 2? What's 30 divided by 2? Look at T, we knew that one right away. What's 78 divided by 2? 39. Now what do they both have in common again? 3. So what's 39 divided by 3? 13 over 5. Do you see how you took this one step at a time to reduce rather than grabbing a calculator right away? Sometimes you gotta walk really slow instead of running, right? Your y value is going to be dy over d. dy is going to be 24. D is 30. Now, can I do this one in one fell swoop? I think I can. How do I reduce that? What's the biggest number they both have in common? A 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So what's my POI? Very good. So there we have it. Those are your notes. Here's your homework. Easy or hard? Now, what I want you guys to understand, whenever I say Kramer's rule, please don't talk while I'm speaking. Whenever I say Kramer's rule, what am I asking you to calculate? D, dx, and dy. If I do not give you any equations, are you able to do Kramer's rule? No, you have to have equations to do Kramer's rule. So tonight's homework is this worksheet that you're doing today in class. Now, folks, and finishing for homework, I might add. This is number 5. Did I give you any equations for problems 1 through 5? No, I did not give you any equations for problems 1 through 5. So therefore, can you do d, dx, and dy? No, you can only do the determinant that I've given you on that paper. Do you understand that? So let's go ahead and do number 5. All I ask is that you calculate the determinant. So that means I'm going to take this number and multiply it by that. So that's negative 5n times 3 minus 6n. And what operation goes after that, always and forever? Subtraction, and then I'm going to calculate the other diagonal. So I'm going to take my single term, which is negative 4n, and multiply it by my binomial term, which is 2n minus 1. Let's minus the negative. Make it positive. Negative 5n times 3 minus 6n plus 4n times 2n minus 1. Now what do I do? Distribute. So negative 5n times 3 gives me, very good. And what's negative 5n times negative 6n? Positive 30 what? N squared, very good. What's 4n times 2n? 8n squared. And what's 4 times n? 4 times 1? Negative 4n. So now, do I have any like terms? So what is negative, or 30 plus 8? 38n squared. And what's negative 15 minus 4? Gives me negative 19n. That is your answer. Why are there variables in this whenever I told you before there should be no variables in it? Because we don't know what the coefficients of those lovely little variables of x and y are. You understand that? So there's a placeholder for them. If you are given equations, are you going to have unknown coefficients? No, you can actually physically see the equations, therefore you know what A and B are going to be. Now, on problems 6 through 15, what am I expecting you to do on problems 6 through 15? I expect you to do d, dx, dy. We all understand that, and then find your POI. Your answers to the problems and the work that I have done is right here on this worksheet, right here on the board. What do I expect you to do the rest of the period? Work on the worksheet, do your problems, come up and check your answers. Any questions? Yep.